Datta Sri Guru Datta Jai Guru 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 Datta Sri Guru Datta.
Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Saraswatyaya Namaha, Shri Padavallabha Narasimha Saraswati, Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Shri Ganapati Satchidananda Sadguru Bhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Guru Datta and welcome to Datta Arpanam with your hosts Rishi Nirvan Balrup
and Ravita Singh. Jai Guru Datta, Swagatam, and thank you for tuning in to Datta Arpanam, a showcase of the life, music and teachings of His Holiness Parama Pujya Dr. Shri 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 Ganapati Satchidananda Swamiji of Avadhuta Dattapitam in Mysuru. Today's program begins with the offering of pranams, gratitude and this invocation prayer at the sacred feet of beloved Sadgurudeva Pujya Shri Swamiji, as this program, possible only through His divine grace, is offered to him. Please join Pujya Shri 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 Datta Vijayananda Tirtha Swamiji now in worship.
Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Saraswatyai Namaha, Shri Padavallabha Narasimha Saraswati, Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Shri Ganapati Satchidananda Sadguru Bhyo Namaha. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gururdevo Maheshwarah, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Bhuyuta Shri Hari Chinnhitabhyam Agastya Rekhadibhiranchitabhyam Nigodha Bijakshara Mudritabhyam Namo Namas Sadguru Padukabhyam. Ganapati Gurumekam Satchidanandarupam Vibhudharivahasevyam Yogamargadhirudham Sharanamupagatanam Sanghadrivajram Mama Hridaya Nivasam Bhaktinamro Namami Bhaktinamro Namami.
Once again everyone, Swagatam, and thank you for tuning in to this morning's edition of Datta Arpanam. Today's program is being brought to you through the kind courtesy of Ramlal Educational Institute of number 12 Exchange Lots, Couva, Valini's Drug Mart Limited of 58-60 Sutton Street, San Fernando, Debe Supermart Limited of 182 SS Erin Road, Debe, and Koke Supermart Limited of 14 Naparima Mayaro Road, San Fernando.
On last week's episode of Datta Arpanam, You heard the story of Upamanyu, which was shared by Pujya Appaji during his Mahabharata discourses. Today, in some ways, the story being shared might seem similar, but the lesson being taught is so absolutely critical to making this life a worthwhile one that it felt appropriate to still share it.
Like last week's story, this week's story is also one about faith and is also taught through a story linked to food. Like the story of Upamanyu, today's story is also a story found in the Mahabharata. And while today's story is shorter than last week's, like last week's story, it teaches us valuable lessons which can make this life a much calmer, happier one.
So be sure to stay tuned in to Datta Arpanam right here on 103.1 FM. Before we get to today's story, however, let us join in worshipping the remover of obstacles, Lord Ganapati. Please open the Bhajan Mala app or visit the website www.bhajanmala.com, enter Bhajan ID number 14 and join in worship.
The bhajan says, "In the beginning we prostrate to Ganapati. Please accept our first prayer. You are the leader of the Ganas and the elder brother of Lord Subramanyam. You have the snake around your stomach and sit on a mouse. You are the son of Shiva and Parvati and the remover of obstacles. You are the friend of Satchidananda and you will come quickly when needed."
Listeners, remember those words. You will come quickly when needed. They are words which, through today's story, you will come to realize are so very true of God, whatever form you ascribe to that God. In the meantime, though, please do sing along. Once again, the bhajan ID for today's Lord Ganapati Bhajan is 14.
మొదలు వందనము గణపయ్యా, మొదటి పూజలందుకో విఘ్నయ్యా.
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 ప్రథమ గణాలగ్రుడు నీవయ్యా, ప్రథమ గణాలగ్రుడు నీవయ్యా. కార్తికేయ అగ్రజుడు నీవయ్యా, కార్తికేయ అగ్రజుడు నీవయ్యా. మొదలు వందనము
గణపయ్యా, మొదటి పూజలందుకో విఘ్నయ్యా.
మొదలు వందనము గణపయ్యా, మొదటి పూజలందుకో విఘ్నయ్యా. పాము చుట్టి పెట్టావు పొట్ట చుట్టూ, పాము చుట్టి పెట్టావు పొట్ట చుట్టూ. ఎలుకనే మొగెక్కావు శ్రీ గణనాథ, ఎలుకనే మొగెక్కావు శ్రీ గణనాథ, శ్రీ గణనాథ. మొదలు వందనము
గణపయ్యా, మొదటి పూజలందుకో విఘ్నయ్యా.
మొదలు వందనము
గణపయ్యా,
మొదటి పూజలందుకో విఘ్నయ్యా. శివ పార్వతి పుత్రుడు విఘ్నాలకు శత్రువు. పూజలకు పాత్రుడు మొదలు వందనము
గణపయ్యా
మొదటి పూజలందుకో విఘ్నయ్యా మొదలు వందనము
గణపయ్యా
మొదటి పూజలందుకో విఘ్నయ్యా.
What a perfect prelude to today's story here on Datta Arpanam. Thank you for tuning in to today's offering, which is coming to you on 103.1 FM through the grace of Parama Pujya Sri Ganapati Satchidananda Swamiji, and thanks to the sponsorship by Valini's Drug Mart Limited, Ramlal Educational Institute, Debe Supermart Limited, and Kokie Supermart Limited.
Today you will hear a short story which is taken from the Mahabharata and which was shared with devotees of Ganapati Swamiji or Pujya Appaji by his second-in-command, Sri Datta Vijayananda Tirtha Swamiji. It is a story about a sage by the name of Jadabharata.
When Pujya Appaji was only around 11 years of age, his mother and first guru, Mata Jayalakshmi, left the mortal coil. He and one of his two sisters, Varalakshmi, then went to live with his paternal aunt Venkama. Aunt Venkama then took on the role as Pujya Appaji's spiritual guide. And as part of his spiritual training, one form of penance which she made him perform was madhukari, or going from house to house begging for food.
This was a practice also performed by Maharishi Jadabharata. But while going from house to house begging, the righteous sage never looked at any lady, except maybe if his eyes fell on her feet. Since he never looked higher than a female's feet, he did not even know what a woman looked like.
One day, it so happened that when the lady of the house came to offer alms, Maharishi Jadabharata inadvertently looked at her face and then at her body. He was taken aback when he noticed that her body looked different to his. Her female body did not resemble his male body.
Now, Jadabharata was of pure mind. He harbored no evil thoughts. So when he asked the lady, "Why is your body different from mine?" the question was an innocent and genuine one.
Still, though, the question shocked the woman, and she ran and reported it to her mother-in-law.
The elderly woman, being more mature in her understanding, realized that the person who was waiting outside and begging for alms had a genuine doubt. She decided to personally come out to speak to the Maharishi.
Jadabharata, still confused, repeated his question to the first lady's mother-in-law, who thought for some time and then said, "A woman's body has been designed like this by God in order to provide food for the baby who will be born in the future."
This answer brought about a profound change in the Maharishi. The thought came to him that if the Supreme Mother provides food for a being that has not yet descended to earth, then wouldn't she provide for one whom she has already created?
With this thought, the Maharishi left his begging bowl at the doorstep, silently walked away, went into the forest, and began meditation. He was confident that the Divine Mother would provide food.
A few days passed, and then the king of the land happened to come to the same spot where Jadabharata was meditating. Seeing a mendicant who was not striving to get any food, he brought a few fruits and left it beside him.
When the villagers saw the king serving this mendicant, they all thought to themselves, "He must be a great monk," and so they now began to bring him food daily.
In this way, using the villagers as her instruments, the Supreme Mother provided Jadabharata with food.
Listeners, you were promised a short story, and you can see that that was the truth. But you were also promised that the story contained morals which would make this life a happier one, and that is also true. What are those morals? Well, stay tuned in to Datta Arpanam to hear some of them. In the meantime, as we did last week, let us join in worshipping the ever-compassionate Annapurna Devi, the goddess of nourishment. It is by her grace that we have food to eat. In this age of Kali, without food, our health would suffer. Without good health, our spiritual practices would be curtailed. So we owe so much to this Divine Mother. Please open your Bhajan Mala app or go to the website www.bhajanmala.com, enter Bhajan ID number 334 and join in singing this beautiful bhajan.
Annapurne Sada Purne Shankara Prana Vallabhe Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartham Bhiksham Dehi Cha Parvati.
अन्नपूर्णा ज्ञानपूर्णा साददातु मे धियमुदीर्णा 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 अन्नपूर्णा ज्ञानपूर्णा साददातु मे धियमुदीर्णा. जयतु पावना जयतु शोभना जयतु पावना जयतु शोभना जयतु निस्तुला जयतु निश्चला जयतु निस्तुला जयतु निश्चला जयतु पावना जयतु शोभना जयतु पावना जयतु शोभना जयतु निस्तुला जयतु निश्चला जयतु निस्तुला जयतु निश्चला अन्नपूर्णा ज्ञानपूर्णा साददातु मे धियमुदीर्णा अन्नपूर्णा ज्ञानपूर्णा साददातु मे धियमुदीर्णा अन्नपूर्णा ज्ञानपूर्णा साददातु मे धियमुदीर्णा. स्वापराधनी मोक्षतत्परा स्वापराधनी मोक्षतत्परा अन्नदानस दीक्षिता परा अन्नदानस दीक्षिता परा व्यासगर्वणी वासनिष्ठुरा व्यासगर्वणी वासनिष्ठुरा सचिदानंद श्री नित्य भासुरा सचिदानंद श्री नित्य भासुरा अन्नपूर्णा ज्ञानपूर्णा साददातु मे धियमुदीर्णा अन्नपूर्णा ज्ञानपूर्णा साददातु मे धियमुदीर्णा. अन्नपूर्णा ज्ञानपूर्णा साददातु मे धियमुदीर्णा अन्नपूर्णा ज्ञानपूर्णा
May Goddess Annapurna bless all of creation. You are tuned in to Datta Arpanam, which is coming to you on 103.1 FM through the grace of our beloved Appaji, Ganapati Swamiji, and thanks to the sponsorship by Ramlal Educational Institute, Debe Supermart Limited, Valini's Drug Mart Limited, and Kokie Supermart Limited. Thank you for sharing your Sunday morning Sandhya hour with us.
Today you heard the story of Datta Bharata, but what does this story teach us? Well, first and foremost, it teaches us the power of firm faith. Datta Bharata had the firm belief that if the Supreme Mother could ensure that an unborn being would be taken care of, then surely those who are already born by her grace must also be taken care of.
But listeners, while the story spoke of Datta Bharata leaving his begging bowl behind and not actively seeking out food, we should not take it that this story is telling us to not put in any effort and still whatever we want will come to us. Faith is one part of it, but karma is another part. Datta Bharata might have stopped his begging, but he did not then idle away his time. No, he spent it in meditation. The combination of his pre-existing purity of mind, meditation, penance, and faith, all of these are to be taken into consideration when we look at how food eventually came his way.
And no doubt each of those factors played an important role in him being looked after. But when we have faith, that conviction that we are looked after, we truly see it. And that does not mean that we get everything we want, but it means that we get everything that is good for us. So, someone may have firm faith in the Lord, yet die young. Does that mean that his faith did not save him? No. How can we assume that death was not the means of saving him? We can barely remember what happened 1 year ago, far more one lifetime ago. But God, Guru, He knows past, present, and future. True faith is when we surrender every outcome at His divine feet, knowing and trusting that He knows best.
In Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna himself taught us these principles when, in the 4th and 5th shlokas of chapter 3 and the 22nd shloka of chapter 9, he said,
Na karmana manarambhat, naishkarmyam purushosnute, na cha sannyasana deva, siddhim samadhigacchati, nahi kaschit kshanamapi, jatu tishthatya karmakrita, karyate hyavashah karma, sarvav prakriti jay gunaihi, Ananyaschintayanto mam ye janaf paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham.
In the first of those 3 shlokas, so in the 4th shloka of chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord said that without first performing action, one cannot reach the state of inaction. In other words, a person must first perform their prescribed duties in order to attain purity of mind. Simply giving up action before getting to that stage does not qualify one as being a sannyasi. As the Lord says in the shloka, giving up action before purity of mind is achieved will actually block one's path to liberation.
In the 5th shloka of chapter 3, the Lord explained the concept further, saying that giving up action really means giving up attachment to the fruits of the action. No one can ever be in a state where they are not performing some sort of action. For example, we breathe, we perspire, etc. Everyone, says the Lord, is helpless and is led into action by the 3 gunas, which are born of Maya or illusion.
And then in the 22nd shloka of chapter 9, so the 3rd shloka which you just heard chanted, the Lord gives us such comfort when He says that He takes care of all the needs of those who place their complete trust in Him with no second thought and who constantly contemplate upon Him and serve Him.
The bottom line is that running away from actions is not in keeping with spiritual practice. We should perform our actions, good, righteous actions, but perform them without expecting any reward. Whether God chooses to reward us or not, accept the eventual outcome as prasadam fed to you directly from His hand. This is where the concept of prasada buddhi comes in. Treat all outcomes as prasadam from God. When you do that, every moment of this life becomes a happy one, because every moment of this life is one in which you feel God's presence, feel Guru's presence.
Feel Guru's presence now as we join Sri Datta Vijayananda Tirtha Swamiji as he sings this beautiful tribute to Pujya Appaji. The beautiful bhajan, the lyrics to which you can find by entering bhajan ID number 712 on the Bhajan Mala app or website, says, O Sadguru Ganapati Satchidananda, Datta Sadguru, sweet as honey and full of joy. We all have so many relatives here from our parents' side and the in-laws' side. Yet you are our only soulmate and closest relative who is with us even beyond these lifetimes. O Sun God, did you choose to rise on the eastern hill called Jayalakshmi's womb to proclaim to us your quality of always giving Jaya or victory? You are born as the Datta Sadguru, the preceptor, to preserve and nourish the Vedas and to establish firmly the code of righteousness. You destroy the difficulties of the weakling humans. You feed them soul juice to give them comfort. You shine with the glory of the celestial science of Raga Ragini. Out of love, you travel the entire earth constantly. Your smile is the medium that wins the hearts of devotees. You first use karma or prescribed austerities to dispel the sorrows of your followers. We repeatedly shout chants of victory to you. Your light should shine for us for 100 years.
Listeners, once again, the bhajan ID for this absolutely beautiful bhajan is 712.
गुरुपदद्वन्द्वम् अवाङ्मानसगोचरम् रक्तशुक्लप्रभामिश्रम् अतर्क्यं त्रैपुरं महः सद्गुरो गणपति सच्चिदानन्द चित्तानन्द सानन्द मकरन्द सद्गुरो गणपति सच्चिदानन्द चित्तानन्द सानन्द मकरन्द పుట్టింటి బంధువులు మెట్టింటి బంధువులు ఎందరెందరో కలరు మాకందరకు ఇందు ఒక్కడవే నీవౌదు ఆత్మబంధువు మాకు జన్మాని కావలి తోడయ్యే బంధువు తోడయ్యే బంధువు సద్గురో గణపతి సచ్చిదానంద దత్త చిత్తానంద సానంద మకరంద జయమిత్సు లక్షణము నీదంసు తెలుపుటకు జయలక్ష్మీ గర్భాద్రి ఉదయిస్తివా సూర్య వేద ధర్మాలిలను పోషించి పెంచుటకు అవతరించిన దత్త గురు రూప ఆచార్య గురు రూప ఆచార్య సద్గురో గణపతి సచ్చిదానంద దత్త చిత్తానంద సానంద మకరంద నీరసించిన జనుల బాధలెల్లయు తీర్చి ఆత్మరసమును పంచి సుఖ పెట్టెదవు నీవు రాగిణి రాగ సద్విద్యతో వెలిగేటి అనురాగి భూగోళ సంచారి దీవు సంచారి దీవు సద్గురో గణపతి సచ్చిదానంద దత్త చిత్తానంద సానంద మకరంద భక్త హృదయము చేర నీ నవ్వు మాధ్యమము దుఃఖాల చెరిపేటి కర్మని కాద్యము జయ జయ ధ్వానాలు చేసేము మీ కొరకు వందేళ్ళు వెలగాలి మీ వెలుగు మా కొరకు మీ వెలుగు మా కొరకు సద్గురో గణపతి సచ్చిదానంద దత్త చిత్తానంద సానంద మకరంద జయ 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 గురునాథ జయ సచ్చిదానంద జయ 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 గురునాథ జయ 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 గురునాథ 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 సద్గురునాథ 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 జయ 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 గురునాథ సద్గురునాథ జయ 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 గురునాథ జయ 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 గురునాథ जय बोलो गणपति सच्चिदानंद स्वामी जी की जय बोलो सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की
What a divine rendition of a divine composition. You are listening to Datta Arpanam on 103.1 FM. Thank you for tuning in to this morning's program, which is being sponsored by Ramlal Educational Institute, Valini's Drug Mart Limited, Kokie Supermart Limited, and Debe Supermart Limited. Today you heard a story about Maharishi Jadabharata, who never looked at women directly and who renounced the search for food.
The saint's respect for women is a real lesson from which every male in society should learn. A woman is called a woman based on her genetic makeup and physical qualities, yes, but this does not define who she truly is. Pooja Appaji's mother and guru, Mata Jayalakshmi, taught Appaji to see her in all women, to see all life forms as equal, to not discriminate, and to see her in all forms of life. In these teachings, which formed part of her Dwadasha Sutras, she not only taught her disciple how to treat a woman, but she taught all of us by extension.
Physical qualities only serve to differentiate one person from another for the sake of functioning in this material world. But under it all, we are all just different looking manifestations of the same supreme divinity. So, to the men out there, never see a woman as just a mass of flesh. To the women out there, never see a man as just a source of income. Instead, learn to see each other, male, female, old, young, human, animal. Learn to see all life forms as aspects of God. When you do, naturally the inclination to show respect will come.
And believe it or not, there's yet another lesson which we can take away from today's story. When Maharishi Jadabharata asked the ladies in today's story why they looked different to him, One woman, in a state of shock, ran to her mother-in-law, but the mother-in-law thought about it and responded in a way that was helpful to the Maharishi.
When someone says something that at first might seem abrasive, we should not be quick to think the worst of them. We should not react in a rash way. Instead, give someone the benefit of the doubt. Be helpful instead of responding with an insult. Think to yourself, if this is a divine being in front of me, how should I behave? Because listeners, at the end of the day, each and every being has a spark of divinity within them. And sometimes the difference between that spark shining and that spark being clouded by immoral behavior is something as simple as feeling heard and feeling respected.
So everyone, in summary, today we saw from the story of Jadabharata that inaction and surrender are two different things. Faith makes the impossible possible. Respect one another, and do not rush to assume the worst about someone. Give it a second thought before coming to a conclusion.
I'm sure that those of you listening may have noticed some other lessons in the story as well, and I'm happy if you did. In fact, please post those lessons to the Datta Arpanam Facebook page so that we can hear your thoughts as well. But today's story just goes to show us how even a short excerpt from our scriptures, in today's case Mahabharata, can teach us so very much.
Thank you for joining us for today's contemplation. Now, the whole reason behind choosing such a short story today was to allow some additional time for Nama Sankirtanam. So before we begin to wrap up today's program, please join in singing with love, with surrender, and with faith these beautiful bhajans. As always, you can find the lyrics to them on your Bhajanmala app or on the Bhajanmala website.
Bam babam Bhadra Shankara Vandanam Vandanam Bhola Shankara Bam babam Bhadra Shankara Vandanam Vandanam Bhola Shankara Bam babam Bhadra Shankara Vandanam Vandanam Bhola Shankara Bam babam Bhadra Shankara Vandanam Vandanam Bhola Shankara. बल बूझ चली बल बूझ चली नीवू माकु मत्तु कम्मगा बूधि कणमु सूर्य किरणमై వెలుంగుగా బూది చల్లి నీవు మాకు మత్తు కమ్మగా బూది కణము సూర్య కిరణమై వెలుంగుగా నుదటి నిప్పురెచ్చి వచ్చి మమ్ము చుట్టగా గుండెలోన సచిదానంద పాకమౌనుగా నుదటి నిప్పురెచ్చి వచ్చి మమ్ము చుట్టగా గుండెలోన సచిదానంద పాకమౌనుగా బం బబం భద్ర శంకర వందనం వందనం భోళా శంకర బం బబం భద్ర శంకర వందనం వందనం భోళా శంకర. గంగిరెద్దు తెల్ గంగిరెద్దు తెల్ల గంగిరెద్దు నెక్కి నీవు గంతులేయగా గంగ తల్లి అలలు పొంగి గలగలించుగా. గంగ తల్లి అలలు పొంగి గలగలించుగా. మంచు కొండ పెన్, మంచు కొండ పెను, మంచు కొండ మీద నీవు కునుకుచుండుగా, కునుకుచుండుగా. కొండ కూతురొచ్చి నిన్ను నిద్రలేపుగా, కొండ కూతురొచ్చి నిన్ను నిద్రలేపుగా. డమరు బట్టి ఢమ్, డమరు బట్టి నీవు, డమరు బట్టి ఢమ్, డమరు బట్టి నీవు హెచ్చు దండమించుగా, హెచ్చు దండమించుగా. అక్షరాలు పూల జల్లు లౌచు రాలుగా, అక్షరాలు పూల జల్లు లౌచు రాలుగా. శూలమెత్తి, శూలమెత్తిని, శూలమెత్తి నీవు నింగి తూట్ల పొడవగా. మాకు శూలమెత్తి నీవు నింగి తూట్ల పొడవుగా. మాకు కోర్కెలన్నీ కురియు వానధారగా, కురియు వానధారగా. బం బబం భద్రశంకర వందనం వందనం. బం బబం భోళా శంకర, భోళా శంకర. శంభో శంకర. బం బబం, బం బబం, బం 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 బబం, బం బబం, బం బబం. భద్రశంకర, 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 భద్రశంకర. బం బం బం, బం బం బం, బం బబం. హనుమంత బలవంత చలవంత యశవంత గుణవంత మహసంత జయవంత శుభచింత. హనుమంత బలవంత చలవంత యశవంత గుణవంత మహసంత జయవంత శుభచింత. చలవంత గుణవంత జయవంత. హనుమంత చలవంత గుణవంత జయవంత. బ్రహ్మ తేజ కపిరాజ చురభాజ రామ పూజ. బ్రహ్మ తేజ కపిరాజ చురభాజ రామ పూజ. దుష్టనాశ భక్తవశ విశ్వేశ రామేశ. దుష్టనాశ భక్తవశ విశ్వేశ రామేశ. మగవీర రణధీర గంభీర మహశూర. మగవీర రణధీర గంభీర మహశూర. శుభసార దుఃఖ దూర గుణధీర కరుణాకర. శుభసార దుఃఖ దూర గుణధీర కరుణాకర. చలవంత గుణవంత జయవంత. హనుమంత చలవంత గుణవంత జయవంత. పంచానన సంతానన ಗಂಧಮಾದನ ಕಿರಣಾನಾನ ಪಂಚಾನಾನ ಸಂಧಾನಾನ ಗಂಧಮಾದನ ಕಿರಣಾನಾನ ವಿಶ್ವರೂಪ ವಿರೂಪಾಕ್ಷ ಉಷ್ಟ್ರವಾಘನ ಧ್ಯಾನ ನಿರತ ವಿಶ್ವರೂಪ ವಿರೂಪಾಕ್ಷ ಉಷ್ಟ್ರವಾಘನ ಧ್ಯಾನ ನಿರತ ಅಂಜಾನಂದ ಆನಂದ ವಾಯುಕಂದ ದೇವ ವಂದ್ಯ ಅಂಜಾನಂದ ಆನಂದ ವಾಯುಕಂದ ದೇವ ವಂದ್ಯ ಅಭಯಾನಂದ ಸೇತು ಬಂದ ರಾಮಾನಂದ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಅಭಯಾನಂದ ಸೇತು ಬಂದ ರಾಮಾನಂದ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಹನುಮಂತ ಬಲವಂತ ಚಲವಂತ ಯಶವಂತ ಗುಣವಂತ ಮಹಸಂತ ಜಯವಂತ ಶುಭಚಿಂತ 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 ಹನುಮಂತ ಬಲವಂತ ಚಲವಂತ ಯಶವಂತ ಗುಣವಂತ ಮಹಸಂತ ಜಯವಂತ ಶುಭಚಿಂತ.
What a beautiful note on which to begin to wrap up today's episode of Datta Arpanam.
Pranams and gratitude are offered at the divine feet of Sadgurudeva, Paramapujya Sri Ganapati Satchidananda Swamiji and Sri Datta Vijayananda Tirtha Swamiji, without whose teachings, compassion, love, guidance, and music, this program would not exist.
Pranams to you, Puja Appaji and Sri Swamiji. Kindly forgive any errors which may have been committed in preparing or in sharing today's episode of Datta Arpanam, and please guide us to avoid such errors in the future.
Special thanks are extended to the staff at 103.1 FM and to the sponsors of Datta Arpanam: Valini's Drug Mart Limited, Ramlal Educational Institute, Debe Supermart Limited, and Kokie Supermart Limited. And of course, dear listener, an extra special thank you is extended to you for sharing this devotional hour with us.
If you would like to listen to today's program again, check out the Datta Arpanam Facebook page, where by tomorrow night, the YouTube link for today's episode will be shared.
Once again, everyone, thank you for tuning in today. You are invited to please tune in to 103.1 FM again next Sunday at 6 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time for another episode of Datta Arpanam, a showcase of the life, music, and teachings of His Holiness Paramapujya Sri Ganapati Satchidananda Swamiji.
Jai Guru Datta.
Shri Guru Datta. Harihi Om Tat Sat.
ಗಂಧರ್ವಲೋಕವೇ ಗಾಣಗಾಪುರವು ಭೀಮಾ ನದಿಯೇ ಅಮೃತದ ತೀರ್ಥವು 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 ನರಸಿಂಹಯತಿ ರೂಪ ದತ್ತಾವತಾರವದು ನರಸಿಂಹಯತಿ ರೂಪ ದತ್ತಾವತಾರವದು ಪಾದುಕಾ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರವದು ನಿರ್ಗುಣದ ಲೋಕವದು ಪಾದುಕಾ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರವದು ನಿರ್ಗುಣದ ಲೋಕವದು ಪಾದುಕಾ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರವದು ನಿರ್ಗುಣದ ಲೋಕವದು ಪಾದುಕಾ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರವದು ನಿರ್ಗುಣದ ಲೋಕವದು ಗಂಧರ್ವ ಲೋಕವೇ ಗಾಣಗಾಪುರವು ಭೀಮಾ ನದಿಯೇ ಭಕ್ತ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರವದು ದತ್ತ ಭಿಕ್ಷೆ ಧಾಮವದು ನಿತ್ಯ ಭಕ್ತ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರವದು ಭೂತಗಳನ್ನು ಓಡಿಸುವ ಅವದುಂಬರ ಶಕ್ತಿಯದು ಭೂತಗಳನ್ನು ಓಡಿಸುವ ಅವದುಂಬರ ಶಕ್ತಿಯದು ಸ್ವರ್ಗಲೋಕವದು ಮೋಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾರ್ಗವದು ಸ್ವರ್ಗಲೋಕವದು ಮೋಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾರ್ಗವದು ದತ್ತ ನಡವ ಜಾಗವದು ದೇವತೆಗಳ ಬೀಡದು ದತ್ತ ನಡವ ಜಾಗವದು ದೇವತೆಗಳ ಬೀಡದು ಅಂದರುವ ಲೋಕವೇ ಗಣಗಾಪುರವು ಅಂದರುವ ಲೋಕವೇ ಗಣಗಾಪುರವು ಭೀಮಾ ನದಿಯೇ ಅಮೃತದ ತೀರ್ಥವು ಯಾಗಯಜ್ಞ ಶಾಲೆಯದು ಯೋಗಿಗಳಿಗೆ ತಾಣವದು ಯಾಗಯಜ್ಞ ಶಾಲೆಯದು ಯೋಗಿಗಳಿಗೆ ತಾಣವದು ಯಾಗಯಜ್ಞ ಶಾಲೆಯದು ಯೋಗಗಳಿಗೆ ತಾಣವದು ಯಾಗಯಜ್ಞ ಶಾಲೆಯದು ಯೋಗಿಗಳಿಗೆ ತಾಣವದು ಕಲಿದೋಷವ ಕಳೆಯುವುದು ಕಲಿಯುಗದ ಸ್ವರ್ಗವದು ಕಲಿದೋಷವ ಕಳೆಯುವುದು ಕಲಿಯುಗದ ಸ್ವರ್ಗವದು ದತ್ತನಾಮ ಹಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಕರ್ಮ ದೂರ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ 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 ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದನೆ ದತ್ತನೆಂದು ಹೇಳಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದನೆ ದತ್ತನೆಂದು ಹೇಳಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದನೆ ದತ್ತನೆಂದು ಹೇಳಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದನೆ ದತ್ತನೆಂದು ಹೇಳಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂದರುವ ಲೋಕವೇ ಗಣಗಾಪುರವು ಭೀಮಾ ನದಿ ಅಮೃತದ ತೀರ್ಥವು ಗಂಧರ್ವ ಲೋಕವೇ ಗಣಗಾಪುರವು ಭೀಮಾ ನದಿಯೇ ಅಮೃತದ ತೀರ್ಥವು ಭೀಮಾ ನದಿಯೇ ಅಮೃತದ ತೀರ್ಥವು ಭೀಮಾ ನದಿಯೇ ಅಮೃತದ ತೀರ್ಥವು ಭೀಮಾ ನದಿಯೇ ಅಮೃತದ ತೀರ್ಥವು ಓಂ ಶಾಂತಿ 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 ಹರಿ ಓಂ ತತ್ಸತ್